Sue from the Mountain Canary Company. Ed's going to talk to you today about some of its experiences with dogs on the trail. Go ahead.
Hi, folks. I'm a long way from not being a dog lover, but I keep getting these real interesting subjects nobody else wants to touch: toilet paper, helmets, and now dogs. I got a visit with some friends today, and they gave me an idea. Said, "Why don't you talk about some of your experiences with dogs on the trail? You've had some real cool ones." Okay, well, I will. But first, I got to introduce you to a wee training aid here, Duffy. Say hello to the people. Come on, say hello, Duff. Okay, now Duffy's here. Now Duffy's going to leave us because this training aid is like, oh God, he's stuck to me so bad, won't get anything done. So excuse me just a second. I'm going to send Duffy away. Duff, kennel. Stay. Good boy. Okay, now we can get down to business. Now I know that this is not a fun subject for some folks and a nuisance subject for others. But I'm going to talk about it from a safety factor. And I've had quite a bit of experience around these guys and having all kinds of different experiences with them. And I'm not really a fan, when I get started now, you can cut this off if you don't want to listen any further. I'm not really a fan of having dogs, mixing dogs with trail riding and packing strings. Just don't feel they normally mix. I said the word normally. Most of your dogs aren't trained to travel with your animals. And most of your animals, especially if you mix some strings together, I would not bet on having your dog live through the trip. Mules have a tendency, because they're half donkey, just by their DNA, to hate dogs. Now, this is a heck of a note to be somewhere a ways away from everything and have a mule stomp a mud hole in your dog. Now what do you do? Well, that's one of the things. This is, again, some of the things I push is plan ahead. Be prepared. Wonder if this could happen or not. And avoid it if you can. I was years and years ago, probably I guess maybe almost 30 years ago, and I was asked to pack some folks in I knew for a little camp. They wanted me to take and go up with them, camp some spot. And I said, okay. And I grabbed a pack horse and rode a horse in, and they had to bring along their dog. And I went, oh, well, it's kind of a soft touch. Oh, well, okay. If he's fine with horses. Okay. Well, that damn dog ran up and down the trail, edges of the trail, to get up in front, to get the back, up in front, to get the back, up the front, to get the back, through the brush next to the trail. Well, normally this wouldn't be too big a deal. The animals got used to him charging back and forth and pretty quick. But the bees didn't. It was bee season. That sucker stirred up bees for 8 miles. Finally, I took a look as he went by me one time, and here's a bee sitting on his head, drilling a hole in him right in the top of his head. He was still, and the bees were all over us for 8 miles. So that was one unpleasant experience. Another reason I tend now to say no dogs. And you never know what dogs are going to do. You know, I hear a lot of feedback about bells, mountain bikers, and so forth, and you know, I think I'm more concerned about a dog than mountain bikers. Mountain biker comes up into your space, and at least you have the capacity to talk to him. You have the capacity to block the trail, to take charge of the situation, to visit with them, and try to negotiate a condition of how you safely pass each other. A dog, once a dog gets mixed in with the animals, he goes into a different mindset. And you have no idea what the heck they're going to do. And it's not going to be good because they're telling your riding animals, which are prey animals, that they're going to eat them. So I was packing a string into, I think it was Dosey Wallops, and there's an area they can have dogs in the park property, but there's another area you can't. And it goes to the backcountry. You can't have a dog in the national park. So I'm going along in there with a pack string, and I think I had 4 or 5 animals behind me, and Dad was riding trail drag for me, and we were going to go into 7 miles, 8 miles in, and all of a sudden I looked up the trail and here came a guy down the trail with a big husky. Well, I stopped and he wanted to get that dog off that trail because that dog was now going completely a little ballistic. So he had a collar on him, thank goodness. And he dragged him off probably only about, I guess maybe 75, 80 feet off the trail as far as he could get. And actually I was lucky in that area to be able to get that far off the trail. And he sat down and grabbed that dog around the neck, tried to hold on to that dog. That just completely ballistic the dog. And now my gang is sitting there going, oh my God, they're walking up the trail looking at him, and all of a sudden about the time half of them got past him, he went kind of half crazy, and it snapped away, and half the string went back that way, and half the string tried to run over the top of me. So now I had to get off, go back, tie them all up, come back, bring up the rest of the string one at a time to get by him and talk him around this guy. Well, that's just one example of that. Now, I know dogs, airing your hairs, folks, is why you're out there. But you've got to think this out a little better. You're not the only ones there. Now, I had an experience once where I learned something about the group dog mentality. I'm normally a one dog person, and my dog doesn't go with me. He stays home. He'll sit right here for 2-3 weeks, and he'll be here when I get back if somebody comes feed him. It's better if I leave him a mule. So, but years ago, Sue and I had gone out riding west of town here, and it was just her and me and two of the mules. And we finished our nice, pleasant day ride and came back, tied up to the trailer. And where the trail came out, it was brushy, and then there was a big parking lot. It was a little parking lot. The animals came, we were tied up in there. And I was standing over there just starting to take the saddles off. I looked up, and out came 3 golden retrievers on a dead run at my mules. They were, these are friendly house dogs. Here they came, vicious at my mules. And I went right for them. And I turned around, charged right into them. And I was about to start kicking dogs left and right, but I realized I had a more deadly weapon with my finger. I stood there amongst all 3 of them, shocked that I came at them, pointing at them and scolding them and telling them the bad dogs, scolding and belittling them and just chasing them into the devil. And it worked. Well, unfortunately for the lady who owned them, I think she just about either messed herself or had a heart attack, because she came out right behind there and saw this going on, and all she could do was scream at me, "Don't shoot him, don't shoot him, don't shoot him." Damn, I'd forgotten I had a gun on. If I hadn't, I think I'd have popped a couple of them and let her figure out what to do with the one left living or wounded. But one dog you can kind of work around a little bit. 2 dogs, they're starting to get dangerous. 3 dogs a pack, and their mind changes completely. So they're wonderful animals. I love dogs. I've had dogs since I was a little bitty kid. But there's a time and a place for them. We had a little Kelpie. Name was Cassie. And she was, my dogs are homebodies. And she was a real homebody. And these little herding dogs are territorial a lot, and they really sometimes don't even like to leave their own little world. Well, that was little Cassie. So Sue and I decided, instead of leaving her home, we had a moment of weakness. This was, gosh darn, 30 years ago or so. We had a moment of weakness and said, well, let's just take her with us. We're going to go up to Soda Springs, and we're going to go up to Jug Lake area and going to go camping. And Sue wants to fish with the sisters there. And I don't leave her. Well, she'll be good for me at camp and keep me company with the mules. So we started out. She came along with us. I got to a point where we were almost into where we wanted to go, and She stopped, looked at me, looked around, and turned around and beat feet for the trailhead. Well, this was getting on to dark, and there was quite a bit of distance between me and that trailhead. And I was mad at her. I didn't figure she's going to go nowhere but that trailer. And the trailer was open, and she had water and food in it. So I just let her go. So the next morning I got up early, got a quick breakfast, threw a saddle on Bert, climbed on, and headed back for the trailhead. And everybody I'd go by, I'd say, "You see the little brown dog? Oh yeah, she's over such a camp." Or she's over such and such a camp. Or she's over there playing with some kids. So I got back, I gathered Cassie up, put her in a trailer, locked the door, so that she had a crate in there and she had food and water. We were only going to be gone for another day, and I just let her in there and came back. But that was a pure nuisance. So I just, you never know how a dog's going to react to stock. Now, not your stock even. Your dog may just be happy as a clam with your critters. You're out on the trail, you meet some strange animals that they don't know. Oh boy, all bets are off. That doesn't mean that dog's going to like those horses or those mules or those goats. You don't know. So probably, in my opinion, probably the best place for the dog is at home in a healthy, safe environment. Why I say safe? Well, I've had some folks tell me they bring this dog along for protection. From what? You're bringing along a meal for coyotes. Now, I remember I was putting a class on and a lady came up and visited with me. And I don't know how the conversation about a dog came up, but I know I didn't raise it. But she said she'd been riding with her dog, and a darn coyote came out, commenced to kill that dog in front of her, and start to drag it off. And she wasn't armed. And she barely got that dog, mangled dead dog, away from that coyote. So that's not uncommon for those critters. Dogs to coyotes are just a nuisance, and the smallest coyote can take out the biggest dog. Just out of town here a ways, I had some kids working for me at one time that lived out in the country, and they had a big coyote problem, and they had Rottweilers, and they had vet bills. Those Rottweilers were in the vets constantly being stitched up because those coyotes were slicing them up. So bottom line, I want you to think about it. They're great company. I mean, they're really great company. They're not going to protect you from a bear or a cougar. Bear spray is going to work a whole lot better than any dog. In fact, they're more likely going to bring them in. So give a pre-thought to it. Is this a good idea? You decide. But in my world, I don't think it is. Well, folks, thank you very much for being patient with me, and I'll try not to bring any more of these toilet paper type subjects up. The things that need to be said, or things a friend of mine's talked me into saying. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope you have a wonderful day. But remember, ride as often as get out there. But please, please.